Hi everyone, it's me. Today is June 14th, 2026 at 4:08 p.m. Welcome back. I hope you're well. I am doing well myself. I've had a great day. I went out for a walk. It was a little bit rainy, but it was nice weather. It's 16 degrees Celsius, and all is good. So, today I would like to talk to you about something that is often confused because of the way that it's been used. Yep, I didn't mean that to rhyme, but it did. So, we're talking about hijacked sacred symbolism. And as you know, I have covered in the past before about another ancient symbol that was hijacked that we covered in my Ancient Civilization series. It looks like a swastika, but it's not. It has another word. Sometimes you'll see it on statues in Buddhism. And what it represents is the four corners of creation: north, south, east, and west, earth, air, fire, and water. And it goes, so there's humans, there are subhuman creatures, I believe higher dimensionals and lower dimensionals. And so that's how it works as well. All with north, south, east, and west, earth, air, fire, and water. So this is an ancient symbolism of those things united. Okay? But unfortunately, that symbol, again, was hijacked, and, well, we all know the story with that there. So, what's this? What do you call that? The story we've been told about that. Okay? Because if you look further into that, it's a shame, because the esoteric, which means like insight, inner studies, things that reflect inner to the outer and outer to the inner. Yeah. But what's happened is that people who believe that these things are only meant for a small group of people, like this chosen one thing, even on the dollar bill, or the American dollar bill rather, when you see the pyramid with the top of the pyramid removed with the eye on it, this again symbolizes their belief. This group of individuals, let's call them the Illuminati, which is the whole thing about the eye. They do believe they are like this group of chosen ones that are above the rest, better than the rest. When we call they, that's who we're talking about. They don't care about us. Michael Jackson was in that song, was talking about them, the elites, the 1%ers. For whatever reason, whether it be through social class, family bloodline history, what you end up doing as a job position, like even people who don't come from notable family lines will meet someone, and then they get connections and get into something, whether it be business, show business, real estate, even whatever. And they climb the ladders, and it's just this thing that hits some people. Not everybody, but some people, almost like a virus they catch. This is why you see some people that would be in this category, and they're so far removed from the rest of us that they don't even make sense. And sometimes you think that they're not human, but they are. Okay? We went over a bit of that about like the whole reptilian thing, that there is no reptilian shapeshifters. These are people that are stuck in their lower dimensions. Power, survival, sexuality, and creativity. So, but they're using their creativity, intelligence, and power all for the wrong things. Okay? We talked about that in reptilian connections as well. But with this symbol, people see this and they automatically associate it with negative and evil things. Unfortunately, in this age, everything that has once been sacred has now been, dirtied. It's been desecrated. Yeah? So I found an article to help me out here. Okay? This is a beautiful picture, by the way. And I mean, even there's symbolism in itself. Okay? I'll just read you the title first. So, the all-seeing eye, sacred origins of a hijacked symbol. Okay? But why is it just one? Why one eye? Well, because it's both united. Okay? So sometimes you'll see paintings or a statue and they have both eyes closed and their third eye open. This is your divine eye. So there's this process that happens. Your dark and light, your left and right, your heart and mind, positive and negative. One side is red, the other is blue. When those two colors combine, it makes purple. That's where that red and blue thing. You're looking for the combination of things. I actually have it written down here. Just one second. I'll find the page and then I'll read you all the things. Positive, negative, dark, light, masculine, feminine. Hold on. Okay. So yes, we have, the black, so the color, dark, the South Pole. So this also has to do with your spinal column, kundalini, and Claustrum's oil, right? So the South Pole is your sacrum. So it's the base of your spine. That's your bottom pole. And your North Pole is at the top of your head. Right? That's where those things are. So you have the left, and then you have the dark, evil. There's also the sons of Cain, which is one side, which would be associated with fire. Okay? And so we have the black grail, fire, we have force. Okay? And then there's also, on the opposite, we have opposing forces, right? So there's opposite. So if it's force, we would have faith. Red, action, the mind. Okay, we have intelligence, intellect. Again, people are using their intelligence for the wrong reasons. It can be used for good or not good. Right? So we have the sun and the moon. We're combining these things. The sun's on one side, which would be masculine. The moon is on I believe the left is the masculine and the right is the feminine. Okay? So then we have the alpha and the omega, the first, the last, the beginning and the end, both sexual organs, nothing and everything, the father, the mother. So there's a lot of these things that combine, okay? And then the sons of Seth is water. All right? I wrote this down in my book because it's a guide. It's also for me, but it's also for you. So just let me show you this really quick. It's these two eyes as one eye, though. It's unified. It is the divine eye. Now, for some reason, this page saved, and I keep seeing it. And this is exactly what I'm talking about here. So we have this, and again, the sun in the background, which is another symbol of creation. This was always a symbol of the creator. And there is a big agenda of erasing that. Okay? We're not talking about in a religious aspect. We're talking about even in the divine blueprint of nature itself with the Fibonacci sequence. There's even mathematics in patterns in nature. This is what we're talking about, okay? A divine design. All right? So here again, it's showing you the Kundalini, even your Pingala and your Ida, which is your dark and light Kundalini snakes. They combine into one. At first, they are opposing forces within you, and they meet in the middle and they go out again. Meet in the middle. It's almost like an orbit or an actual cycle of dark and light, sun and moon, like night and day. Okay? Again, at the top of the skull is your North Pole. That's why it's called Santa Claus, Saint Claustrum at the North Pole. This is where this is. I first learned this from Kelly Marie Kerr, and I thought that was so cool. I, I was just, I can't, what's the word? Enthralled. Like, I think that's the word I'm looking for. It's the one I thought of. I don't know if that's the right one, but it was absolutely mind blowing. No pun intended. And I think this is so interesting. So, oops, hit the wrong button. So then this is why we have this symbol, the medical symbol, but they hijacked that as well. Everything that they can do to prevent us climbing up and reaching this process is what they're doing to us. Okay? Again, these things have all been hijacked, and they're using it to prosper at our expense. This is almost the same symbol, but people don't realize that. Don't you see the sun and the moon here? The top one in the one corner, up like this, is the sun. Down is the moon. It's also a combination of masculine and feminine. There's the Kundalini symbol, right where the phallus would be. And this has a lot to do with our sexual energy. In fact, if you look at the pentagram on the skull, in the corner, it's an upright. So this has to do with earth, air, fire, water, and ether. There's a combination of things here between nature. So I believe earth would be the hooves, the air would be the wings. I'm not exactly sure how to interpret this. But again, this here is the same symbol, the sun and the moon, the two Kundalini snakes, the Ouroboros circles and cycles, reincarnation at the bottom. Okay? A lot of people see this as evil, and it has been used for bad. Because a lot of people who think that they're really freaking smart and they're very arrogant think this is only for them. We are the profane, the useless eaters, the bottom feeders, the dummies who don't deserve to know. But even like it says here, again, the flame would be another symbol of the all-seeing eye. You are the little flame of the big flame of the sun. But it even says in here that this is for everyone, the gift of all for all man. The world is the schoolroom of God. Our being in school does not make us learn, but within that school is the opportunity for all learning. This isn't a simulation. And it's very, very important. You know, this is school in your university to become a doctor, but in the esoteric on the inside, the spiritual, the unseen. It has its grades and its classes, just like initiation explains. Its sciences and its arts, and admission to it is the birthright of mankind. It's our birthright, and they've taken it from us and given us slop, given us his story. It's not any divine creation. It's the one that they made for themselves. And this goes back a long, long time, you guys. There's a lot of lessons that you may have missed, okay? But if you don't know, Kabbalah is symbolism and allegory. And the entire Bible is symbolism and allegory, for example. Oh, see, it's so much easier to fool people than to convince them they've been fooled. This is true. But is it right? No. So I am really trying to do my best. But it's not going to be easy for some. But I do encourage you to go back over some of my older lessons. I do have one on the sons of Seth and the sons of Cain. Anything that I've talked about today, I've talked about before. And all you have to do is search for it in the search bar. It should come up for you, okay? Its graduates are its teachers. Its pupils are all created things. Its examples are nature, and its rules are God's laws, or natural law. Those who would go into the greater colleges and universities must first, day by day and year by year, work through the common school of life and present to their new teachers the diplomas they have won, upon which is written the name that none may read save those who have received it. The hours may seem long and the teachers cruel, but each of us must walk that path, and the only ones ready to go onward are those who have passed through the gateway of experience. This is called God's Great School for Man. This is a book called The Initiates of the Flame, written by a man called Manly P. Hall, who these, knowledge keepers, forbidders, withholders, they like very much. Unfortunately, this man is not impressed with that. In fact, I will quote him when he says, "The ways in which they hide the mysteries is highly unusual." Saying someone's highly unusual back in the day was a great insult. That wasn't saying something nice. That means saying you're a bit odd, you're a bit weird. And let's not hang out with them. That's what he was saying. Even Manly P. Hall's own wife feels like he was taken out, that he didn't die of natural causes. His own wife believes that. So, unfortunately, there's been a lot of people that have tried to help us, but their work has been taken. And I believe that Manly P. Hall probably has an interpretation of that exact symbol in here. Guaranteed. He wrote this encyclopedia, and it's absolutely incredible. Incredible. At the age of 20 years old. So we also have the fire and water here, primordial fire and water here, which we've gone over. Okay. But let us read this, and then we will continue, okay? There's lots of things, and this is the same. Interpret. So, in this book, it explains more about this. Different ladders, about study, and about, prospering at the expense of others. There's two paths, okay? But the all-seeing eye is combined. It's the source of all things. It created dark and light. So anything that's evil came from that too. Do you understand that? So even the dark children of creation are still the children of the divine creator. Yeah? This is what it means fundamentally at the root of it. Okay? This is called the master's carpet. Again, you see this grave here? This is symbolizing, when they say Jesus laid in the cave for 3 days, this symbolizes when your claustrum's oil, or your Christ seed, which has to do with your kundalini, goes down from your solar plexus, like sunset, goes down underneath the earth, right to the base of the spine, and then it resurrects back up and shoots to the crown. Okay? That's what it represents, because you're in a coffin, buried, only to rise again. Okay? This is also symbolizing ignorance or death, unknowing. All right? Then there's these two poles of dark and light. There's the candle of dark, the candle of light, and then the one in the middle, which is this pointing to, right? And again, here's your heart. The 5-pointed star, which is earth, air, fire, water, and ether. The anchor. Anyway, there's probably more. I can't do all of these, but all of these pictures symbolize the same thing. Okay, it says, if you balance the positive and negative aspects of the subtle energy in your body, it will rise up your spine and open your third eye, giving you great spiritual insight. Several religious traditions recognize this and encode it into their symbolism. Yoga explains it straightforwardly. When the Ida and Pingala balance, Kundalini rises up the Sushumna, probably your spine. The ancient Greeks symbolized this with the Casatus, the staff carried by Hermes with the wings, the messenger of the gods. It also has to do with Mercury, the messenger. The Knights of Templar may have used Baphomet for this purpose. Yeah, because it symbolizes all those things in one. Alphes Levi's drawing shows much related symbolism. Yeah. Alchemists used many terms and symbols, but the above example, the dragons represent the opposing energy, and the sun and the moon, their dualistic nature. The much sought after philosopher's stone, which could turn lead into gold. No, you're turning your base metals into gold, or your lower dimensional energies into higher dimensional. Yeah? So this is what it means. So when it says to balance your positive and negative thoughts, even if you do have a negative thought, balance it with a positive one. Yeah? Like, I used to be like, way back in the day, oh, I'm fat. And then really what you have to say is, oh, you know what? But I could do something about it. I'm going to work out. Just for an example. You know what I mean? Or, oh, life sucks. But you know what? It is going to get better eventually. Like that. Okay? Just for quick examples. So, okay, so the much sought after philosopher's stone, which could turn lead into gold, was a reference to the third eye and its ability to infuse the lead, of the material world, with the gold of the spirit of spiritual enlightenment. Yeah. So basically, lead, I believe it's a lot heavier than gold, but it would be the denser, harder things of the material world, and gold would be the lighter of this. Wait a minute. In the claustral process, there's the pineal gland and the pituitary gland, the milk and the honey. One is like a white, like whitey gray color, and then the other one is like gold. So maybe that's what it is too, right? Turning the lead into gold or whatever. I just thought about that. Anyway, Freemasons Freemasons encode this symbolism into their master's carpet. The two pillars, the Temple of Solomon, Jachin and Boaz, those the dark and the light, are analogous to the Ida and Pingala. The sun and the moon represent the duality of the forces, or thought and feeling. And the all-seeing eye represents the third eye. Okay? But this is divine consciousness, right? All right. So now we are back over here. It says, because it says here, is the all-seeing eye a symbol of divine omniscience, or, I know I'm saying that wrong, sorry, or sinister influence? Today, it symbolizes control and domination by a shadowy elite, a certain group, the 1%ers. But its original use was quite different. This article traces its use and meaning back to ancient times. when it was a symbol of divine providence, powerfully representing spiritual truth and awakening. Humanity is losing its precious symbology. The all seeing eye is a powerful esoteric symbol which is widely misunderstood and misused today. Few know what it originally stood for. It was originally symbolic of a higher spiritual power or God, or watchful caretaker of humanity, or an awakened spiritual part within. But these days, it has quite different associations. Today, the all seeing eye is more likely to be seen as an Illuminati symbol of control and surveillance by elites who, to a large degree, run the show on this planet at this time of the Kali Yuga. Okay? This is because, over time, dark, sinister forces have taken over esoteric symbols that for thousands of years were used to convey positive, helpful, uplifting spiritual messages and principles. The all seeing eye is a prime example of how spiritual symbols have been hijacked and inverted. There has not really been much push to understand the symbol's origin, meaning, or to reclaim it for the spiritual significance it first conveyed. This is the first in a series of articles I am presenting, this woman who wrote, or person who wrote this, that will take a closer look at individual symbols and delve into their origins and history to uncover their deeper esoteric significance. I am writing these as a part of an effort to reclaim these positive esoteric symbols and restore them to their previously esteemed state. And this is why I'm relating the article and this message to you. Universal nature of symbolism. Symbolism has long been used by humanity to communicate ideas which are best crystallized in a compact form. As well as the well-known saying goes, a picture tells 1,000 words. Esoteric symbols are alive today as they were in the ancient past. But there is much confusion surrounding their usage, history, intent, and meaning. In ordinary life, we use symbols to show, at a glance, important information such as traffic and road signs, amongst many other symbols, which are widespread and common today. Some other examples are corporate logos and certification statuses. Symbolism is also especially used in the communication of non-physical spiritual ideas, phenomenon, and processes. The all-seeing eye is one of the most powerful and widely used and misused symbols of all. In this article, I trace its use from the earliest times through the 18th century and show what the symbol originally stood for. It was probably way earlier than the 18th century. And show what the symbol is really used for. My next article will examine its use from 18th century Freemasonry onwards and show how it has since been hijacked and misused. Use of the all-seeing eye in ancient cultures, India. We perhaps find the precursor of what eventually became known as the all-seeing eye in the Rig Veda. Rig Veda, a Sanskrit text thought to have been written over 3,000 years ago. Yeah, and one of the oldest known texts. In it, there are many references to the sun and to other deities as being an eye in heaven. Yeah, the sun's like a symbolic representation. As an eye which reveals creation, or an eye which never closes. One can liken this to being symbolic of a high level of awakened consciousness that advanced spiritual beings have and which an ordinary person can potentially attain. The Hindu god Shiva has 3 eyes. The third eye, or brow chakra eye, is known as the Eye of Shiva, or the Eye of Consciousness. Possessor of all knowledge, which, when opened, will destroy anything that it sees, any BS it sees. Thus, it is a symbol of knowledge which destroys evil and ignorance. One, where'd I go? Evil and ignorance. Where the heck did you go? Oh, it's because I didn't go down. I'll keep reading the same spot over and over again. Evil and ignorance. This again can be likened to an awakened, higher spiritual part of a person which sees the truth of things and can then eliminate within a person's psyche that which is opposite to and blocks divine consciousness from manifesting more. In this way, it is a creative destruction of evil to transform it into higher consciousness. That's what I'm saying about your three lower chakras. These are your lower dimensions. You're going to switch them into higher, right? So even when you have negative thoughts, to have a positive one to balance it. This helps. So you don't stay in the lower dimensions. Even in modern times, the Eye of Shiva is used in jewelry to give protection against evil to its wearer and to gain wisdom and understanding from the world, from life events, and from the self for positive transformation. In Nepal. In Buddhism, Buddha is referred to as the eye of the world. This is again, the Buddha itself is symbolic, like the sun. It's a symbolic representation of the divine creator, thus having why it has that symbol on its chest, right? Of all the beings of creation, of the elements and the four corners and all of this. Yes, that's why. Okay. It is typical for temples in Nepal to display a graphic of the eye of Buddha, eyes of Buddha. Oh, those two eyes with the flame in the middle. I'll be able to put pictures up. As shown to the right. Oh, the picture's not there. Notice it includes a mark for the third eye as well. Yeah, here. But sometimes it's a flame. Yeah. Or a sideways eye. The eyes are also known as the eyes of wisdom and compassion. Statues of Buddha typically show a dot in the mid-brow to represent the third eye, or that. That's why they wear that little red dot there. Yeah. Ancient Egypt, the Eye of Osiris. It is interesting to find that the Egyptian hieroglyph for the god Osiris contains an eye as shown below. I don't know why none of the pictures work. So as with Hinduism and Buddhism, we find a spiritual deity being represented in ancient times as an eye, the Eye of Horus. So when you see the eye with the little thing on it like that, that's again another representation of the creator. The Eye of Horus. In ancient Egypt, the all-seeing eye was known as the Eye of Horus or the Eye of Ra, and also formed part of the symbology of Wadjet. Through various myths, they were symbols of protection, healing, and restoration. The left eye of Horus was said to be the moon, and his right eye the sun. Horus was a falcon-headed sun god, and it could be said the Eye of Horus was styled like the eye of a lanner falcon, with its marking beneath the eye. That thing? Yeah. It is also very interesting to note that the drawing of the Eye of Horus very much matches the cross-section of the midbrain where the thalamus, the pineal, and the pituitary glands are situated. Yeah. So being like, it's like the eye of God. So it says the pineal gland is often said to be the third eye, and the center of spirituality and of spiritual insight, which can be developed in a person. It's as if the Eye of Horus could be a depiction of the thalamus as the eyeball with the corpus callosum, the eyebrow above, and the medulla oblongata brainstem, and the hypothalamus being the two markings below. If this is what they were drawing, but calling it the Eye of Horus, does it suggest they considered the midbrain to be the seat of consciousness, or even of divine consciousness, or Horus consciousness, or Christ consciousness? Because I believe that Horus and Christ have similar origins, and that's probably for a reason. Horus being the sun god, like Jesus said, I am the Son of God. And symbolic of the universal Christ, a spiritual force which is suitably prepared, which a suitably prepared person can merge with. The Middle East and Asia, the Hamsa. In the Middle East, the all-seeing eye has been shown in the form of a hand. A hand-eye symbol of the eye is in the middle of the hand, called either the Hamza, the Kamza, or Hamesh. It's the symbol of an eye in the palm of the hand, usually the right hand, like stop in the name of love. Okay. Um, Again, it is a symbol of protection against the evil eye, bad luck caused by jealousy from others, and danger in general, and can be seen as a good luck charm in that way. It is also known as the hand of Fatima in Islam and the hand of Miriam in Judaism. In India, it is known as the Humsa hand. The Jains also have a form of the Hamsa in their symbolism with the word ahishma, meaning nonviolence, inside a wheel, instead of where the eye would be. The Hamsa has been used for thousands of years. It is still in use today as amulets, charms, or wall hangings. It would seem to have its origins from ancient Mesopotamia, with the hand of Ishtar being a symbol of divine protection, although it did not contain the eye in the palm. A more Christian-themed representation of the Hamsa is an artwork called The Divine World by Kahil Gibran, a Lebanese Maronite Catholic prominent in the early 20th century as a poet, painter, writer, philosopher, and theologian. In Greece and Turkey, they have something similar to the Hamza, which they call a Nazar. It is just an eye without the hand, but it is used the same way and has the same meaning as the Hamza. That is, to ward off the evil eye, in the form of amulets or hanging ornaments, usually made from blue glass. Similarly, in Buddhism, there is the Eye of Buddha amulet to ward off the evil eye. The symbol of evil in a hand also appears in Aztec and Mayan cultures and in Native American artworks, although archaeologists are not sure what meaning it had for these cultures. Probably something similar. To the right is a Native American example. Oh, that really sucks. Let me see if I can just, I wonder, hang on, I'll refresh the page. Hold on. No, that didn't fix it. For some reason, I don't know why any of the pictures are showing. I don't know. I had to turn on my ad blocker for this web page. That might be why. I don't know. But I will try to find all these things to show you in pictures as we're talking, okay? Right. Right down a little bit. These are the Eye of Buddha. Native American artworks. Okay. To the right is a Native American example referred to as the rattlesnake disc, which was unearthed by a farmer in Moundville, Alabama in the 1800s. Some archaeologists think its symbolism may have represented a portal to spiritual dimensions. It is the most elaborately decorated artwork found at Moundville, giving it rise to believe it was one of the most important to its creators. Other artworks found there also contain a hand-eye symbol. Let's take a look at what that is. Yeah, we don't give enough credit to our ancient peoples. So look, this here is definitely representing the two Ida and Pingala of Kundalini, or dark and light, left and right. Okay, we have circle symbolism here. We've got the hand with the eye in the center. This is what we were talking about. This is the rattlesnake disc. Okay, very interesting. So, are all of our cultures, ancient ones throughout the world, knew of this? Yeah. Here's a black and white picture of it. You see? So it's got the two quote unquote dragons, which are the Kundalini going around. Yeah. The sun and the moon. One going this way, one going the other way, like the Ouroboros. Hmm. Maybe these will represent fire and water. Depending on, I don't think it had any color. It just looked like a carving. Hmm. So that's interesting. What does this say? Oh boy. Let's see. Is this gonna work? What is this? Uh oh, I think it was sometime before 1883. A beautiful disc was found by a farmer plowing his field. On the front side, a well engraved design. Come here, baby. A well engraved design is shown, which represents two entwined, or rather knotted, rattlesnakes. Because, yeah, your dark and light is entwined. Your left and right, heart and mind, it's entwined, right? They're inseparable. You can't get rid of your shadow side or your dark side. You have to unite them, combine them, balance them as one. Yes, Marv. Marv, my girl. Oh, my girl, I missed you. Where's my baby? Oh, there's my baby. I know. Someone's going for a haircut this week. Yeah, we got to get all your little fur mats taken off, my baby girl. Yes. Okay. So where was I? Oh, right. So if plowing a field, hand with an eye is shown. Right. So we already just went over here the snakes and all the things about that. Doesn't say anything more anyway. But yeah. So this is just a paper. I will link it below. That's all I'm reading right now. It's just this. Oh, it's just a out. It's just a paper. Okay. So now that we know what that is. Whoa, Marv. I love you, baby. Okay. So, okay, the rattlesnake disc was made by a farmer in Alabama in the 1800s. Some archaeologists think its symbolism may have represented a portal to spiritual dimensions. But it is the most elaborately decorated artwork found at Moundville, giving rise to the belief it was one of the most important to its creators. Okay. Other artworks found there also contain the hand eye symbol. So this is like, again, like I was saying, at one time our civilizations were one and we all lived together, and then we were divided and separated up. Yeah. So when they think that they found Atlantis here and Atlantis there and Atlantis there, no, you found evidence of a worldwide civilization or an age that was the entire world. Hey girl, what you doing? Rolling around looking pretty. Okay, so ancient Ecuador. There is also the amazing discovery of the 1984 in La Mana, central Ecuador, of the ancient artifact referred to as the Black Pyramid, amongst 300 artifacts found there of unknown origin. It is not known what culture they come from, and the many objects found are baffling and seemingly out of place for this part of the world, such as an object designed as a hooded king cobra of Southeast Asia. Cobras don't exist in South America. Yeah, Marvin starts eating my hair. Hair eater. Oh my goodness. Good lord. Okay. Get a big old fur mats. Um her fur's really thin, so it just gets like that. She needs a haircut. Um where was I? Cobras don't exist in South America. Okay, let's see what this black pyramid is. Hang on. Open link, new tab. Oh, we're over here. Let's see. Oh, it's a video. Even they call it an Illuminati pyramid from Ecuador. Just a second here. I'm going into some cave. I don't know what this is. Okay, it was found in the jungle of Ecuador. Hmm. There's a little video. Hmm. It says the jade plate with the stars has two human figures, one taller than the other. So this would represent like older civilizations teaching the younger civilizations. You'll see this in Egypt too, when they have this big person on the wall and there's a small person sitting on the knee. That's what it's about. Older consciousnesses are our older brothers and sisters of creation teaching the younger. Ancient Egypt was all about the spiritual, not about aliens. Um, and it says here, perhaps it represents an adult teaching young ones about the star system, or just about the reality in which things function in creation, you know? Okay. So I'll put that below. Because pyramid. Well, it here. I guess I can show you what it looks like. It just looks like a rock here. It's not very good quality. Oh, wait. Oh, uh, just never mind. Just never mind. Anyway, so it would have been nice if it was just a picture, but okay. Okay, so this black pyramid, among 300 artifacts found there of unknown origin. It is not known what culture they come from, and the many objects found are baffling and seemingly out of place. Right. The so-called Black Pyramid is made from a black stone with an eye at the apex. The stone has gold inlays forming 13 levels of bricks and an eye at the top. These inlays glow when under black light. Overall, it looks like a representation of the Great Pyramid of Giza, 7,470 miles away, and also amazingly, just like the eye of the pyramid symbol used on the Great Seal of America and the $1 bill. So that's probably like Yeah. And I mean, yeah, they stole a lot from South America too, and they're pillaging all and taking everything. Oh, let's bring this back to our museum. Anyway, it is also interesting to note the cobra artifact has another similarity with ancient Egypt, where the raised cobra is associated with the Eye of Horus or Ra, the Wajet, in their protective aspects, with it being worn on the foreheads of pharaohs and the mid brow, right where the third eye is located. This symbolizing the raising of a person's energies to a higher vibration, which internally leads to awakening of psychic faculties such as those latent in the third eye. It is not known how old these objects are, as dating them has not been possible, but they are thought to predate the known ancient cultures of the region. There is also a pre Sanskrit type language, making it very old, engraved on some of the objects, including on the underside of the Black Pyramid, where there are also markings which appear to map out the stars of the Orion constellation, which the pyramids at Giza also map. The four pre Sanskrit markings, are thought to translate as saying, "The Son of the Creator comes." Given the care taken to create this object, it would seem to have been an important symbol for its creators, although it is not clear how they interpreted it. Ancient Greek. In the hymns of Orpheus, the hymn to the sun describes it variously as thus: as an eternal eye with broad survey, and compares it to being the father of ages, as an immortal Jove, all searching, bearing light, then later as the great eye of nature and starry skies, followed by faithful defender and eye of the right. So here we see, in an ancient text of the Western world, similar representation of the sun like that presented in the ancient texts of the East, the Rig Veda, as being an eye of the Creator and an all seeing, never closing eye watching over and protecting the good. Christianity. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Yeah, so that's what we're talking about, the combination, the balancing, and seeing through your divine eye. That was from Jesus in Matthew 6:22. The eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are open to their cry. And the next one, the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. So it sees all good and evil deeds, sees us all, every moment, everything that you do, everything that you think, everything that you say, speak, all of it. All knowing, all seeing for all of us at all times. Because in fact, it's almost like it is you. You are a little flame of the great flame. So in fact, it can see and is seeing through all of our eyes at once, experiencing itself in its own creation. So, where was I? A possible first known use of the all-seeing eye symbol in Judeo-Christianity is the so-called Jesus tomb from 1st century AD, discovered in 1980, which uses a similar symbol over the entrance to the tomb. Regardless of whose tomb it is, could this be the first known of the early use of eye pyramid symbol in the Judeo-Christian tradition? That's too bad all the pictures are... I'll try to find picture replacements. In Christianity, the all-seeing eye, or Eye of Providence, or Eye of God, has been used as a symbol from at least the 16th century, as seen in the following painting, which depicts... Hi, what's the matter? Are you hungry? What's the matter? Right. Yeah. Come here. All right, let me see. Let me see. Which depicts a scene from Luke 24:13-32, where after his resurrection, Jesus has supper with his with two disciples. The eye is inside a triangle and surrounded by rays of light, with the triangle representing the Holy Trinity and the whole symbol meaning God's omnipresence and all-seeing eye watching over its creation, like we saw in the previous webpage with like the sun symbol in the background, the triangle and the eye in the middle. Yeah. And all-seeing eye watching over creation. Some claim that the eye in triangle symbol was added to the painting soon after the Council of Trent in 1545 to 1563 to conform with its canons and decrees. But even if that is so, that would still place its use in the 16th century. In I'll say I don't know how to say that, France, the Fresno painting above the altar of the Abbey Church of Saint John Baptiste, 1763, shows a large example of the eye in pyramid symbol with rays of glory breaking through the clouds. We might have to take a small break, but if you watch Disclosure Day, there's a reason why they used the all-seeing eye, and we are going to get to that. Okay? Remember, it goes either ways, right? It depends on your perspective and your perception, how you see these things. And a lot of the problem is ignorance. It's not in a bad way. It doesn't mean you're dumb. It's just there's a lot of things that have been hidden and turned around on us. That's all. Okay? Of breaking through the clouds. Another example is the Aachen Cathedral in Germany. It was originally built in the late 8th century under the Emperor Charlemagne, and then enlarged in the Middle Ages with various other changes and updates along the way. It would seem the all-seeing eye was a symbol. The all-seeing eye symbol was placed on the cathedral in 1766 to mark the renovations done that year. Note that the first two examples predate the founding of the Bavarian Illuminati, which was in 1776. Although Freemasonry already existed in England and Europe by this time, perhaps it was the Masonic influence that saw these symbols used on the cathedrals, yet it was not until about 1797 that Masons are regarded as beginning to use the eye in pyramid symbol. The eye in pyramid symbol also featured prominently on the front facade of the Hardebrugger church in Leiden, the Netherlands. Sorry, Netherlands. I didn't mean to screw that up that bad. Built in in 1835 or 36. The Latin words "Hic Dominus de est e porta coeli I don't know. Translate to, "This is the house of God and the gateway of heaven." And that is where our article has ended. So we're going to pick back up in the second part. I will be right back. Thank you for being here. See you in a moment.